tried to look down and saw that there was a cut, as if it was marked for surgery. I sat quietly in the airport terminal with my boyfriend, Ralph. I watched him lovingly as he browsed the dark net on his laptop. I always try to recall this one last happy memory because our lives were about to become a horrific nightmare. He just proposed to me last week and had planned this wonderful getaway vacation. I will not name the country because I don't want to paint them in broad strokes after the horrific experience that we had, that I will never get over. I was just 21 and he was 22 at the time, and we were feeling really adventurous. We loved going off the grid. We loved the feeling lost in a city, and truthfully, we enjoy the more hidden underground scenes that you won't find in Yelp. From exotic restaurants that served weird animal meat in Southeast Asia, to underground wine cellars that has a super alcoholic beer called snake venom in Eastern Europe. We wanted to try it all. To find these places, our go-to was the dark web. There, you can find forums detailing the underground scene in almost every city. While the reputation of the dark web was always questionable, we found it useful when looking for these kinds of places. Ralph found one, a small bar where they served locally brewed beer. It had no name. It looked pretty tame in the pictures. Pretty normal, except for some highly concentrated alcohol and some weird insect snacks. Oh well, it's a start.
"What do you think, Jane?"
he asked.
"Well, not bad for a first day. We can research more places once we get there."
After a smooth flight and dropping stuff off at the hotel, we finally made it to the bar. We went through a small, narrow alley into a building with no sign and a blue sign that said open, and so we went in. We were surprised that the bar was so colorful inside, with flashing blue, pink, and purple lights everywhere. We went straight to the bar. The bartender introduced himself as Kareem. He was quite fluent in English and made some funny jokes about us Americans. Then he served us some cool flaming cocktails and some chips. The night was turning out great. Amazing music, fun dancing, and some wonderful cocktails too. I was getting really drunk. Kareem gave us one last drink. The 2 glasses looked normal enough, but he said that drink makes you feel sexy. Curious, Ralph and I cheers and drank the 2 glasses. He held my hand and he smiled at me. But then, something was wrong. I saw Ralph's face becoming blurry. Then suddenly, everything felt weird. I was starting to feel really tired, my limbs becoming limp. Then, I just lost consciousness. I wake up slowly, disoriented. The smell was terrible. I felt so uncomfortable from the hard surface I was lying in. I slowly open my eyes, and I see a moldy brown ceiling. Where am I? Why does my stomach hurt? I touch it and I feel something warm. I look at my fingers and there's blood. Then, I felt a sharp pain in my stomach area. I tried to look down and saw that there was a cut, as if it was marked for surgery. It was a struggle to move, but I managed to turn my head to my right. What I saw shocked me. A transparent glass box with eyes that is bloody. In the middle of the glass was a little object that at first I couldn't really see because my vision was a bit blurry. When it got clearer, I gasped. It was a kidney. Around it are few surgical equipment, like scalpels. On the other bed, Ralph. A small hole in his belly. I was crying as it is becoming clear to me now that we were drugged in that bar. How I am awake now, I don't know. I tried moving my legs. They felt heavy, nearly paralyzed. I managed to kick and move my legs eventually. Finally, my body was starting to move once more, the effect of the drug somehow dissipating. I reached out to the table to get the scalpel. I hear someone coming, footsteps getting closer. I hit the scalpel as the door creaked open. In comes Kareem, eating a shawarma and talking on the phone. He looked very relaxed, despite the evil he was doing. How can somebody be so callous? I pretend to be unconscious, grasping tightly at the handle of the scalpel. Kareem goes to my bedside and inspects the wound. He tries to grab the scalpel from the table, looking away from me. This was my chance. With all the willpower I could muster, I pushed my buddy up towards him and stabbed him with a scalpel on the chest. He was visibly shocked and fell to the floor. I ran for it, ran as fast as I could. I looked out an open window and I found I was in the 6th floor of some old, rundown tenement block. I ran to the elevator, pressed the button, but it was clearly not working. Suddenly, the door to the room I was in swung open. Out comes Kareem, bleeding and limping towards me. I ran for the stairs as quickly as I could, 6 of 7 flights of it. I can hear him shouting a few floors. I was close to the ground floor, sweating and panting, and just hoping the door would be open. I held up the scalpel, just in case. I can hear him getting closer. I reached the ground floor. Fortunately, the door was indeed open. I ran outside as fast as I could. I went into the streets. I saw some people, and I asked for help, but they ran away from me. I realized they couldn't speak my language and were probably scared because I was brandishing a scalpel. I ran and ran. Behind me, I could see the door to the tenement open and Kareem rushing out. I ran into the street and a car almost ran into me. I stopped the car. A female driver looked at me, not understanding what I was saying in my panic. Yet somehow, she had the instinct and trust to open the door and let me in when she saw Kareem running towards me. She drove away as we left Kareem in the dust. I looked back and saw 2 more men whose faces I couldn't see come out of the tenement to meet him. This was not a one-man operation. This was clearly a syndicated crime. I went to the police and they raided the area. However, when they arrived, the room was empty. No Kareem, no trace of the equipment, except for an empty bed. Ralph and his kidney were nowhere to be found. It's been 3 years now. The authorities in that country has been so helpful. The police clearly did their best to try to find Ralph, but it was no use. After the first year, they declared it a cold case. I haven't been on the dark web since all of this happened. In fact, I have not been out much at all. Just a shell of the person I used to be. I've kept in touch with the lady who saved my life, and we have become good online friends since then. But that's actually the only good thing to have come out of this experience. I now only have the memory of our last few happy hours with Ralph. I watched him lovingly as he browsed the dark net through his laptop on the airport. I wonder where he is now. Is he trapped in a tenement somewhere? Tortured? Did all his organs get harvested? His eyes, kidney, liver, and heart. I wish I could have saved him in time, but the reality is, he is gone, and with him, a part of my heart is gone too.